Welcome to this big match preview here on Back of the Net. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
Are they rivals? Is it a derby? It's up for debate. Are they rivals?
Probably not, from their perspective. Derby and rivals I think is different. I think derby is geographical. It's a derby.
It's a derby. We're the home of AFC Bournemouth content, whether you're a Bournemouth fan or a Saints fan. Why not hit the subscribe button? We would truly appreciate it. Look, it's big, it's red. We all play in red. It's absolutely fine. We're friends, aren't we? You put money in our buckets. You haven't gone on about it at all. This is a big game, isn't it, mate? Absolutely huge for us and for them.
Yeah, and regardless of your thoughts on a rivalry and a derby, it's a big game because of the place in the table. Southampton have virtually got to go on a mad run, haven't they, to stay up, so they need to be winning their home games in particular. And for us, we just had a bit of a setback against West Ham. We kind of need at least another win, maybe another couple of points along the way to secure our safety, mate. But yeah, Southampton not in a good place, so we kind of need to kill them off regardless if they're rivals or not. And maybe then they can go down and then get a little bit closer to igniting their rivalry with Pompey.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. So look, let's take a look at the league table now. Of course, last night we know that there were 3 Premier League fixtures, but we're concentrating here at the bottom, and Saints are where they are. It's not pretty for them, is it? Rooted to the bottom of the table. They haven't won in ages. Bournemouth, well, we are still looking over our shoulder. Oh my goodness. It's one of these games, mate, where I feel that quite often we go into them in a better position than them in the league and better form, but for some reason it's just this mentality factor that we just freeze, and that's what we did in the reverse fixture. Shall we remind people how it went?
If you want.
Go on.
Too easy, way too easy. Cross from the left, single header.
We should have won that game, and we didn't. And today, we could have won that game, or at least drawn it, and we didn't. So yes, could we be doing better? Maybe. I think maybe.
So yeah, what I was saying was that at that point in time, I actually felt confident that we would get a result, but as soon as the whistle blew, mate, we were awful.
I know, I remember us done the preview of Jacob Townsville, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
And I remember speaking to him and he was like, they're in such a bad place, you'll be fine. And we lost 1-0. They nicked the goal, didn't they? And then soaked it up quite comfortably, to be fair to them. They deserved to win the game. But yeah, as you say, and St Mary's even more so, we really struggled there. The only time we've ever won there, we went down.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw it either way, because even if we don't win the game, I'll go, well, when we win, we go down. So we didn't want to win. So I've already got it all prepped in my head. But yeah, regardless of anything else, mate, we struggle there. We've got a bad record there. And they do, whatever they want to say, they do tend to go up for it against us at their place. So it'll be a difficult one.
Yeah, it will be. So however you're getting there, safe travels. I suspect you're probably going up on the train, are you?
With all the other Southampton supporters.
With all the other Southampton supporters. If you do, make sure you're well behaved. We do not condone any chuckles. Maybe we do a little bit. Anyway, the weather, there may be a bit of drizzle there. You can see it on screen. If you're driving up, safe travels as well for a Thursday night game, which I didn't actually realise. It's live on BT, mate.
BT, yeah.
Covering a South Coast derby. Not the South Coast derby, but a South Coast derby. El Clasicost. And you know what, mate? It's produced some interesting games previously, not least that popular Friday night game, 20th of September in the COVID season, where we beat them 3-1. That's probably one of my fondest memories of playing Southampton, actually, even more so than that 2-0 at Dean Court, just because we did it on their own patch, and I think we out-footballed them.
Yeah, we were much better that day, that night, and it got that monkey off our backs, didn't it, really, that we just couldn't win there, so that was nice. And yeah, I remember it was 2-1 nervy, and then Callum got the goal at the end, and they just set a level one down. So yeah, it was probably one of the only fond moments of that season, really. It was a really disappointing season for us, but that was obviously before COVID kicked in. And yeah, it was nice to just finally win there and get that off our backs for sure. But yeah, in general, we haven't got a lot to compare to in terms of good stuff at their place. I know there was a 3-3 draw that was a good game.
Great game.
Really good game. But yeah, that's the only win we've got there. So hopefully we can double that now.
So when we met Saints in October, they had gone 5 games without a win.
Right. Yeah.
And
they could have kept many clean sheets then either, and they did that at our place.
No, they didn't. And Ralph Hasenhüttl was their manager for that game. And Jacob alluded to the fact that if he doesn't get a result in this game, it could be curtains for him. He did get a result, but it wasn't soon after that he did lose his job. And
Eddie Howe, wasn't it? Yeah, got battered, didn't they? It felt like it was a matter of time, really, didn't it? That he was going to go. It just felt like it got a bit stale, and they were going to make a change at some point.
He was always a manager for Saints, so I think he won the respect of the Saints fans, very quickly, and they grew to really love him. But it always felt like Saints were maybe in a negative vein of form. They weren't doing too well, but then he would pull it back, and then they'd be really good for a bit. And then they'd be bad again, and then people would be calling for his head, but then he proves his worth. And it was that just repetitive nature of it. But I think fans ended up losing patience, as did the board, obviously. So who did they replace him with, mate?
Nathan Jones.
Yeah, and highly rated manager, so I thought.
Yeah, but I do remember, I remember being with you when it all come out, they got Jones, and I remember a lot of people and ourselves going, that's a risk.
Well, for a team where they were in the league,
risk.
That was a risk.
Yeah, and you know what he's like as well. Obviously, with Luton, he left them and then went back, but he can say some things. I mean, we know about that sort of thing with having Scott Parker, and you kind of thought it could work, and he could get them all together and be this. But I always thought it could quite easily go the other way, where he starts calling people out and he starts being a bit weird in interviews, and that's obviously what ended up happening.
I sort of admire it in some ways, where clubs have tried to show that they're looking for a sort of project manager. I mean, Watford obviously did that by employing Rob Edwards, but I can't remember how many days or hours that he was at Vicarage Road. But I sense that they were trying to have a manager for longevity, and this up and coming manager was going to be the one. But yeah, it turned very sour very quickly, and it wasn't long before he got his marching orders. And now they're in a similar position to what we were, having an interim manager. Of course, ours has been upgraded to head coach now permanently, but Ruben Sellers is their man in charge at the moment. Yeah,
struggling, but then he come in at a time where they were struggling. It'll be really interesting to see what they do next season. You'd assume they'll be in a league below, but not mathematically done yet, and they could put themselves out of it. They've done it many times before. I think if he keeps them up, it'll be a very, very good job from where they are right this second, so they'll probably get the job. If they went down, I'm not sure what they'll do. I'm not sure what route they'll go down. I'm sure they're making plans off the pitch. But yeah, didn't work for Jones. I think they've done the right thing, kind of getting rid of him, but difficult then to attract someone. They've given Sellers an opportunity, and yeah, I don't really know what the general consensus is, because obviously they're struggling, but they were struggling when he went there, so really, really difficult for them. They've got a few good players, but they probably struggle a little bit. I know they similarly to us, they did on the South Coast quite busy, wasn't it, on deadline day in January, and they did strengthen, but probably not quite all players that are maybe still a bit young, still a bit raw, that they're looking to the future. So is it that case of they might go down, but they've got enough to bounce straight back up and be in a better place for it? We'll have to wait and see. But hard to judge him too much, Sellers, I think, as a first team coach just yet.
There are some things that Bournemouth fans probably wouldn't want me to say publicly, but it is the one that we all want to win, isn't it?
Of course, yeah. I don't mind saying that.
Why?
It's, for me, because Southampton's rivals are Portsmouth, I totally appreciate that. I think for me personally, it's more of probably a patronising thing that you get from Southampton. I've said this before, I think, before we played them last time. I'm 31, so when I went to school and stuff around that time, everyone was really confused why I was a Bournemouth fan, because they're going, well, if you just travel 20 minutes down the road, you can go and support a Premier League team. And I think it was more the sense, and this is obviously not every Southampton fan, but I know so many Southampton fans, and they're all live and were born in Bournemouth.
It's mad, isn't it? It's absolutely mad.
So yeah, to me it's kind of, well, you're not from Southampton, why are you fans that live in Southampton and were born in Southampton and 8 Portsmouth don't care about us, fair enough.
Yeah.
But it's more, for me personally, it's more you get a lot of fans that, and like I say, you get the train, 100%, there will be a lot of Southampton fans on there, going from Bournemouth to Southampton for a home match.
Yeah.
It's just that little patronising thing that you just think, oh, it's nice to beat them, and they apparently don't care about us, but they do. If you didn't care about something, would you go on about it?
No, exactly. I don't like Marmite. I don't eat it.
Yeah, I don't care about gardening programmes.
Yeah.
Don't watch them. Don't talk about not watching them.
But
I don't watch Alan Tishmarsh.
He is a wanker, though, isn't he?
He is a bit of a knob. But I don't go around going, I hate gardening programmes, because I don't care. They don't care, but they like to keep saying they don't care, which almost is counterproductive. But regardless, we do know their main rivals are Pompey. I think there's a certain thing with kind of rivalries and derbies. I think you kind of earn the right. So I think, like, obviously completely different, but I think, like, Man U never really saw City as that bad.
Yeah.
But since City got the money and now compete with them,
Yeah.
they understand it's a bit more of a rivalry.
I think that's
we compete with Southampton.
That's what Eddie Howe once said. He said in one of the interviews that maybe that will develop over time, and obviously us being usually 2 or more divisions apart for a lot of our lifespan.
And Pompey being a lot better.
Exactly, Pompey were a lot better, but
yeah. But yeah, like I say, they potentially be a lot closer to their rivals next season, so that'll be nice for them.
we've got a few things in common with them. They're on the south coast.
We live in
they play in red stripes,
Okay.
and they're also not the
Very
only
good.
team to lose 2-1 to Grimsby in a cup competition that ends at Wembley.
Oh yeah.
So 25 years ago, this month, Bournemouth, it was golden goal, but we're going to go through their results from March, Tom, and it started off with humiliation on national TV against the Mariners, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a real shock, wasn't it? I think, to be fair, they're obviously concentrating on other things, and you can see that in the performance on the night. But credit to Grimsby, it was a proper giant killing, wasn't it? Where Grimsby are, but yeah, nice night for them. But yeah, Southampton, that kind of, and you thought, oh dear, they're in a really bad place. But then they went and won against Leicester, didn't they? So you kind of go, they'd have taken that, get out of the cup. They probably won't go win the cup. So and they had a good time in the other cup competition, to be fair to them. And then they got a point at United.
That's no.
Yeah, so I think once that happens after Grimsby, you're not worried too much. But they had a disappointing defeat against Brentford, wasn't it? Yeah, Brentford at home, and that's one of. I mean, we drew that game, but that's one of them games that you just kind of feel we need to get something at home, and they didn't. And then the Tottenham one was a weird one because it's a good point, really. 3-3, really good point. But again, at home, defeat at West Ham felt big for them. They got battered City, which we all do. I think it was really recent. The Palace defeat at home made me think they could be gone.
Yeah, that's huge.
Because you just thought this is one of their ones they'll be looking at and going, we've got to get something here. Got to get something. And they actually, I remember looking back at it, and they were actually probably the better side at 0-0 for a while. Missed chances and then just couldn't defend well enough, and Palace took advantage. But as you mentioned, mate, the Arsenal one was a bit of a turning point. Don't see many games where both teams are gutted at the end, but that was certainly one of them. And I think in general before the game, a point, you go, bloody hell, what a result for Southampton. But 3-1 up on 88 minutes, mate, you don't take a point.
The way it goes, so
we'd be in a very similar position at Arsenal.
Mentality-wise, then, is that something that will deflate them, or will they take some confidence from that? Because look, I know that we lost 3-2 at Arsenal with Reece Nelson's last, and it was the worst way to lose a game. But that actually sparked a good run of results for us. But you've got to say that Arsenal at that point were in prime form, I would say, when we played them.
Yeah, true.
Not so much now.
No, I agree with that. It's still, like I say, still an impressive point of performance.
Yeah.
But it depends how you look at it. They're going to obviously try and use it and try and say, look, you've just gone away from the team that are currently top of the table. You've scored 3 goals. You also scored 3 goals against Tottenham, for example. We got goals in us. We're playing a Bournemouth team that just conceded 4. Show me. You know what you can do. They're not going to hurt you like Arsenal hurt you. So, we can get at this team, and that's what we've got to use. And it's similar to, obviously, our last opponents, West Ham, as we were talking about. They just had a really good win in Europe a few days before, and you're going, it'll either fatigue them, or they'll go, look what we can do, boys, kick on from it. So it'll be whatever they do. We've got to look at it as, look, they're shipping goals. They're bottom of the league for a reason.
Yeah. Let's
go there and get something. But they've got to look at it as, we're showing that we can score goals against top teams. We can score goals against a team that just let them 4 at home.
Yeah, true.
So it'll all depend on the night, mate. But from their perspective, they've got to go, let's just take as much confidence as we can from a performance against top of the league. From our perspective, we've got to go, they're bottom of the league for a reason. They've just thrown away a 2-goal lead in the 88th minute. So, and weirdly, again, it was, I know we got the goal against us, but 2 goals up, at Arsenal, Reece Nelson comes on the pitch and they get a feel really, really weird.
Yeah.
And we both scored goals within less than a minute.
I know.
Really, really bizarre. God, ain't we just so alike?
We're so alike, brothers in arms. In all our league games against Saints, Bournemouth have won 1, drawn 4 and lost 8. That's away at Saints, of course. In all competitions, we've won 8, drawn 9, lost 16. This is the head-to-head record from a Bournemouth perspective. And yeah, those W's don't come frequently enough. Before the 2 in the Premier League, I think we're looking back at 1987, where Bournemouth managed to get a 1-0 win over them in the League Cup. But other than that,
-4.
it's fair to say that Saints have had the rub of the green. One of the ones that I felt was a really painful match against them recently wasn't the 1-0 at our place in the Premier League. It was actually the FA Cup match.
Oh, they're awful.
Where I felt at that point in time, I thought we were in a pretty good vein of form, but they just came and just destroyed us, didn't they? And that's what they do. When we're in positive spirits, they come and deflate us. But I suppose at the moment, are we in positive spirits? If we look at the league table, there's a fair few points between the two teams, mind the gap. But really, though, we're coming into this after a pasting at home to West Ham. I wonder what the atmosphere, I wonder what the sort of dynamic's going to be like at St Mary's. It's going to be tense regardless, isn't it?
Yeah, it always is, and it'll be a good night, a lot of banter, and it'll be a good laugh, and it'll be a good game, I think, because I think Southampton should, and I think they will kind of have that no fear attitude. They don't need. There's no point in them coming into it being all cagey and all try and nick this and that, because they need wins. They've got to win this football match to have a chance, in my opinion. I think they'll probably agree. So yeah, and it's not only winning the football match they need to do; they're pulling us in.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how we do, because you'd argue, as you said, mate, we had a couple of wins, we're in a decent spot in terms of getting our survival, but then we've just come off the back of a really disappointing one. So the reaction's key for us. But yeah, listen, it'll be a tight affair. Whatever, I can't see one team rolling the other team over, just because I don't think either team are quite good enough. The thing from a Bournemouth perspective that gives me a bit of hope is I think they are vulnerable at the back, and I think if we play like we have done away from home recently, we've soaked up a little bit but broke really well on teams and scored some goals.
Yeah, now the way you're talking now is actually making me feel a bit better again, because it's not like they can afford to take the West Ham approach into and you're like hitting us on the break. They really have to go for the jugular if they're going to stay up in the break, and they must be smelling blood at a team that's just lost 4-0 at home, so they have to. But conversely, that's our best chance to get results. It could be one of these 3-3 games, mate. End-to-end action. It could be a
I think there'll be
high-scoring
hopefully not the result for us, but similarities to like when we went to Leeds, and it's quite an open game because both teams we're going. You know, we could see virtually our survival where they're bottom of the league. Let's go for them. And them going, we've got to go from here because we've got to win this football match, and it could be really end to end. It could be exciting, but yeah, it'll be who comes out on top offensively, but then also who's the most vulnerable, because both teams we've shown that we're vulnerable, particularly from set pieces, and they've got James Ward-Prowse, who's one of the best in the business. So could that be the key, or could the key be they ship a lot of goals and we'll be too strong for them? We'll wait and see.
So obviously this is the first time we've caught up with them since October, and in the transfer window they did strengthen somewhat.
Yeah, Sulemana come in for a decent fee, over 20 million, I think. Who again, similar to a few signings that we made, come over from France and is still raw and a young player that they'll probably see the best of in a few years' time. But haven't probably seen enough of him yet. I think the one that's been really impressive and the one I think to watch is Alcaraz. I don't think he was an awful lot, but yeah, he's kind of an attacking midfielder, can play out top. He's got something about him. Obviously scored against Arsenal, didn't he? But he's got something about him. He's one to watch, definitely. Obviously, aside from Ward-Prowse and his set pieces, they signed the big lamp. Although I don't really want to. I'm going to call him Paul because his surname's Onuachu, yeah. And he's an absolute unit, and I am worried because he hasn't been brilliant, by the way, and he might not even start. But because of the fact we're poor from crosses in the box and he's big, it just worries me a little bit. They signed Orsic as well. I'm not sure if he's available, but he hasn't played an awful lot. And they signed the lad from Luton. But yeah, I don't. They've done similar to us, didn't they? And strengthened little areas, but they've got a lot of players that are quite raw. Probably similar to us. We signed Watara and Traore. That it's probably for the future as much as it is to give them a little bit more for the fight as well.
I think don't concede free kicks around the edge of the penalty box. My God, because we know how potent James Ward-Prowse can be. Shall we at this point thank Southampton for Jack Stevens?
Oh yeah.
Look, in the last game,
Yeah,
I think probably was his poorest game in a Cherry shirt. But apart from that, I think he's been exemplary. And there are rumours circulating online the other week about the fact that he may be signing for Cherries on permanent. And in the quote tweets, in the reply, Southampton fans are saying that is so Southampton. A staunch defender who's been doing so well, and we give him to a relegation rival. Bournemouth have certainly done that before in the past. But on the whole, he's been pretty good for us, hasn't he? Got to say.
Yeah, and to be fair to Southampton, obviously I know Southampton fans, he wasn't really getting in. He wasn't really playing. And they weren't exactly bothered when they gave him to us. And to be honest, when we got him before, he's just there and he's not really playing. We had a few injuries and he come into the team. Thought, I'll see what he's about. And to be fair to him, we haven't been able to drop him because he's refused to be dropped. He's been so good, like you say, it's probably his poorest one, and he has to be dropped for this game anyway because he's not legible. But he has been brilliant. He's been a lot better than I thought he would be. He's not. What's the word? Not the most modern in terms of play from the back. So he's just a bit of a wall, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he'll just block stuff and chuck his head. And I think when you're down there, I think that's the thing. I think Southampton probably know now they've seen him more than we have. They've probably got better quality defenders in their squad, maybe.
Yeah.
But when you're in it like they are and like we are, sometimes you need a defender like that that will just chuck himself at stuff. He's one of them. He's very much pumps his fists and he's easy to warm to because he really enjoys it and he chucks himself in front of everything. But we'll like I say, we've got a few players back now, so we should be okay. But we will miss him for the game, and he's been really, really good for us. So I'm open to us potentially signing him. And even if we don't, I think it's probably similar to Nat Phillips last season. We had him on loan from Liverpool, didn't sign him permanently, but we kind of went, cheers mate, you helped us get over the line. And I think whatever happens, if we do stay up, we'll go thanks to Jack Stevens. And we've done a lot of thanking. So we've had Artur Boruc, Andrew Sermon, we've had a few that have done alright. Kenwyne Jones was. Yeah. We're going to get a few off them. I think it's more from their perspective. They go typical. He's doing well.
Yeah.
For him, I don't think they expected him to do that well. I certainly didn't. But yeah, no, Stevens has been really good. And if they were to go down and we stay up, and they could attract him, I think he'd be a good centre half of the Championship, wouldn't
absolutely.
he? He is a good player.
Now, those who are eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed that on this preview and the last preview, we didn't actually scour YouTube for opposition clips because I tell you what, it's been a very quick turnaround, hasn't it? And it continued. The fixtures will come thick and fast. But notable mentions too. I mean, we always used to go on the ugly inside with Freddie. Freddie, if you're watching, top man. That channel sort of kind of died a death a little bit. I really hope they can come back with it. But then the Saints View came back. But Mike is doing an excellent job with Matchday Vlogs, so do check out that channel for a Southampton perspective. He'll have a Matchday Vlog. I hope he's in tears by the end of it. And not in a good way. But yeah, we'll see how that emanates. But do check that out for what they have to say about this fixture, both before and afterwards as well. Before we do teams, I suppose I better tell you about the referee, something that you really, really like to hear about. You don't care, do you?
Really don't care.
Darren England.
Good? Is that good? That good?
We had him for one fixture this season.
Come on. I love another
in the League Cup at home against Everton.
Get in there. Get in there.
It's coming home. 4-1 that was.
Yeah, happy days. Yeah, happy days.
Great refereeing performance. Love that guy.
Good guy.
But yeah.
That's what I was hoping you said.
Yeah. Let's do teams. Come on. Right, Tom's doing teams. Let's go. So it looks like it is a 4-2-3-1 that you've got up here then, Tom?
Yeah, pretty much, mate. Like I say, with all of them, they're a bit flexible in-game and stuff, but that's kind of how I think they're going to set up. Bazuna will obviously be in goal. Good young keeper, actually, considering where they are in the league. He's done all right from Pompey in the Irish squad with our number 2, Travers, and Randolph, our number 3. They will all know each other, keepers. But yeah, he'll be in goal. I think across the back, Cole Walker-Peters will definitely play. I think he'll be right full-back. He has played left as well, but I think he'll be in there at right full-back. Centre half, I know they've had a few injuries, bits and bobs, but Coletta Carr come on and scored a big goal for them from a set piece. Yeah. So after Sellers come and watched us concede a few set pieces against West Ham, I'm sure he'll be in there, and he'll be alongside Bella Kotchap, I'm sure. I did think there is a change up that they could make in terms of Maitland-Niles, because I forget he couldn't play against Arsenal because he's on loan from there. He may come back in, but I'm going to go with Walker-Peters right back, Coletta Carr, Kotchap, and then Perard, I don't know how you pronounce it, at left back, who's been alright for him as well. In front of them, I think the two that will be the kind of central pairing is going to be obviously James Ward-Prowse. Obviously. And then Lavia, who's another good young player that I think is starting to show his mustard. He come from Man City, so he's got a bit of talent. And then, yeah, I'm kind of going to go for a 3 in front. Theo Walcott will play. He scored against Arsenal, obviously. and he's got that pace and he's going to play him for sure. Alcaraz will be, as I say, with the formation, I think he'll be just off the striker, kind of in that 10 billion role for our listeners. And then I think on the left-hand side, it could be they've got Sulemana, they've got a few options. I think they're going to stick with Elyounoussi because he started the Arsenal game and done okay for him. So I think they'll start with him. A few options up top. I think if I was them, I'd probably play the big lump, Paul Oniachu. But I think they'll play Adam Armstrong from the start and then potentially bring him on if they need to, because he's been getting the nod of late. So that's what I'm going to go with, mate. Let me know, Southampton fans, if there's any changes in there, but that's what I'm going to go for.
Okay, and as for Bournemouth, well, I mean, whether we'll go 3 at the back or 4 at the back, I mean, I expect we'll be changing within the games, but what this seems to be 4 at this point in time anyway. Yeah,
I'll go with a kind of 4-3-3, but as you say, mate, with some of the options we've got in there, it could easily revert to a 3 at times or a 5. Neto will obviously be in goal. Smithy avoided his yellow, so I think he'll stay in at right back. Obviously, we know Stevens has to come out, so Mepham will play, but I think it will be Marcos Senesi that will come back in. Now he's fully fit, which I'm not too bothered about. As much as we'll miss Stevens, I think Senesi's decent enough. And I think he will still stick with Lloyd Kelly. I think there's a lot of people want Vigna, or maybe one of them, but I think he'll, in this sort of game, I don't think he'll change too much. I think Kelly will stay in left back. It's got to be Rothwell in there with Lerma and Billing. That's got to be the 3, and it's got to be. Obviously, Billing will be the one trying to get more advanced, but I think that's got to be the 3 at the moment. Front 3 is the one where you think could change a little bit. Solanke will definitely be through the middle, and Tavel, I'll be surprised if Marcus Tavernier don't play, so I'll put him on the left. I do think Christie will start this game. I think there's Ouattara could be in the shout, Jane Anthony, got a few options there, but I think he'll start with his kind of tried and tested of late. So for me, the only change is because of Stevens being out and Senesi coming in. So that's how I think he'll start, but we'll have options on the bench if we need to change it, mate.
There you go. The more we're talking about it, the more nervous I'm feeling about the fixture, mate. I'm starting to think that, it's going to be a very tense night at St Mary's. Well, I know that's going to be the case, but you know what? We're going to get behind the lads, all 3,000 of us, or I think it's a sellout, isn't it? It has to be.
It will be,
From our perspective, it is, at least. Anyway, how are you feeling? You feeling all right? Bournemouth fans, Saints fans, get your comments in below. Let us know your feelings about what Tom's predicted, but also your score predictions as well. Look, we would appreciate a subscribe. Southampton fans, I don't think you could probably bring it. It says to actually subscribe to a Bournemouth channel. Could you?
Well, it's the equivalent of putting money in a bucket, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you've done that before. So just press play.
Imagine if we got any. Fair play to them if they do.
Fair play to you, Tom. It's been a pleasure. Yeah. It has been a pleasure.
You having a little prediction?
Yeah.
Go on. You can go first.
3-1 Bournemouth.
Oh my God, he's lost his head. I mean, I'd love that. I can't say we'll win at a game that I never think we'll win.
Okay, go on then.
I can't say we'll lose to Southampton. Okay. So I think we kind of alluded to the defences and the goals at the moment. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if we then back it up with a win at the weekend against Leeds, and it probably wouldn't be good for them.
And we've done that at St Mary's, a 2-2 as well, haven't we? We've done a 2-2 and we've done a 3-2.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that, mate. But as you say, it's difficult to be too optimistic when this game because we always struggle in it. But look at the league table, never know. Play like we can. We could obviously hurt them and they'll have to go for it. So, might leave some gaps. Who knows? But I'm sure it'll be an enjoyable night, whatever, and it'll be full of a lot of good little bits of banter. Yeah, I'm sure it will be. Safe travels up there. Looking forward to seeing you. Fan cams at full times might be tasty, but until then, other cherries. See you on Thursday. Come on, you Reds! No, well, definitely a derby. Is it? Oh, One South Coast derby.